Hey guys, it's Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to survive Christmas with an eating disorder. Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, it is a very happy, joyful time of the year that I spend with my family a lot. It's very home-centered. I love feeling at home. I love being with my family. I love just buying presents for people and cooking, and it should be a very fun, stress-free experience. But for people with eating disorders, and people who don't have eating disorders, I know it's stressful for other reasons, but for people with eating disorders, it can be challenging for different reasons than what most people may think. So today I'm going to be talking about how I, over the years, have kind of learned to overcome possible triggers that may come my way. Because the scary thing about, for me, really any family dinner, whether it be Christmas, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, 4th of July, any family dinner, you just don't know what to expect. You could go into it feeling very good. You could go into it feeling very confident, knowing what you're gonna eat, knowing what you're gonna do, whatever, but you just don't know what to expect. How people may affect you, if someone may say something, you just never know what triggers may pop up. And so you don't have control over what triggers you may be faced with, but you do have control over how you react to them. And over the years, I have come across plenty of triggers during these family kind of gatherings, and there are a few things that I have done, you know, to kind of prep myself for that and to not feel so uncomfortable going into those situations. Now, I have made a Thanksgiving video last year, how to survive Thanksgiving with an eating disorder. Everything I mentioned in there can basically be transferred to this video. You know, plan your meals. I don't even know what I said, but today we're going to be talking about things more specific to Christmas and things I did not mention in my Thanksgiving video. And if someone is searching for how to survive Christmas with an eating disorder, my Thanksgiving video may not come up. So I just wanted to have this video out there for anybody looking for support over this, you know, very challenging time of the year. If you need some support, some help, some tips, if you may. And we're all in this together. No one is alone in this. First thing I think it's important to say is Christmas is such, you know, there's a lot of pressure to be happy and peppy and joyful, but it's okay to take a step back, say I'm gonna go in my room for an hour and just kind of recenter yourself. It's okay to take yourself out of a situation that you may feel uncomfortable with and have some alone time and prepare yourself for the rest of the day. I like to go over any possible triggers that I may encounter and kind of already have reactions set in my head of how I will react to them. Because if I'm suddenly faced with a trigger, I might just freeze and become even more triggered. So if I have in my head how I'm going to react, sort of, then I could kind of downplay the trigger and maybe it won't affect me as much. Sort of piggyback off of that, I like to determine like how I will respond to people's comments, whether they're about my food, which always happens, my food, my height, oh Chris, you grew 5 inches since I last saw you, and I get that almost every single time I see these same people. And another thing that always happens is they like look straight into my eye and they say, oh, Chris, like, you look really good. And I know they mean, you know, I've just been putting on weight. And those things in the past used to make me so upset. And I've learned to just kind of, you know, say thank you, thanks, and just like water off a duck's back. Like, I'm not gonna think about it any further than you have already made me think about it. It could be a lot easier said than done. And I think it's good to have just those immediate responses to those things, like, oh yeah, thanks, like, okay, whatever. Because if someone says that, that could go really deep into my head. If someone says, oh, Chris, you're looking good, like, my eating disorder might say that as something different. So I like to have my reactions already planned out for whatever silly comments will be made about me, or, you know, I don't know. Why do people even make comments? It's so annoying. People should know not to make comments about people's appearances. And I know they have the best intentions when they say, Chris, you're looking so good. Oh my god, you're so tall. They don't think how that will affect you. So with that also being, you know, a factor, then that helps me to not take it so seriously. So I try to just, you know, downplay it even more. Another thing to remember is the holidays are very stressful for anyone, for people with eating disorders and without. Just being with family and gift wrapping and buying gifts and cooking, and it's just a very stressful time period. So just know that everybody is having a stressful time. Sometimes I'll be so in my head whenever I'm, I don't know, at the kitchen table and I'm in front of my plate of food, and I'll think like, oh my god, I'm around so many people, this is a little uncomfortable, and I'll just become so in my head. Then I'll look up and I'll see everybody talking and eating, and I'm just like, no one's even looking at me. No one cares about what I'm doing or thinking. My eating disorder wants to make me feel like everybody is watching me and judging me, and no one's doing anything but worrying about themselves. It's also really important to, well, at least for me it is, to sit next to someone who I'm comfortable with at the kitchen table. Usually that is either my mother or my grandma, someone who I know is not going to say anything to me or look at me weird. No one looks at me weird, it's just, honestly, sitting next to someone who you're comfortable with could make such a difference. If I'm sitting next to someone who I feel like weird around or don't have the best relationship with, it can really affect how I eat, and that's sad. So if there's a specific person you would like to sit next to, maybe you could pull them aside and say, hey, I would love to sit next to you. And if they know about your situation, they will probably just not ask any questions and be like, oh yeah, like definitely, of course. I found that really helpful over the past couple years whenever I have a family dinner, just to sit next to someone who I, you know, feel very comfortable with, because I could just pretend I'm just eating dinner with them, and then there's not like 20 people on this side of me. The next thing is so much easier said than done, and I'm saying this to remind myself. It's Christmas. Spend some time with your family. I love listening to Christmas music, putting together a playlist, watching Rudolph and Frosty and, you know, those cliche Christmas movies, The Grinch. I think it's important to take the focus off of food and enjoy Christmas for what it should be. Whether you're religious or not, you could, you know, do things regarding that. I don't really know. But just take the focus off of food, because at the end of the day, Christmas is not about food. Yet our eating disorders and society kind of always talks about, you know, food and what you're gonna eat, and how this time of the year is all about food, Thanksgiving, you know, blah blah blah. So I like to center myself and remember that it's not about food. Yeah, eat definitely and have your meals planned, but spend Christmas not worrying about food. And I know that's so much easier said than done. Just live in the moment, and that kind of leads me to my next thing, which is, it's just one day. Christmas is just one day, and it goes by so fast. If you're having a bad Christmas, remember, it will be over by the time you're in bed that night. If something goes wrong, don't panic. It's okay for things to go wrong, and it's okay to let yourself feel. Whenever I'm triggered, I like to, you know, see why I'm triggered and know why I'm triggered and learn from that. So when I'm faced with those triggers in the future, it'll be easier for me to combat them. So that concludes my tips for this upcoming Christmas season. I know it could be very challenging situation for a lot of people, including myself, and I don't look forward to eating dinner with my whole entire family. It's something that I still struggle with. It's okay to feel certain things. It's okay to have some alone time. It's Christmas, you know, have fun, listen to music. Those, you know, those positive things really help me through it all. So I'm not sure when I'll be posting this. If you're not already aware, I'm currently studying abroad right now. I'm coming home on Christmas Eve, so I'm not sure when this will be up. Probably a week before Christmas. I'm not totally sure. But comment down below what your favorite Christmas traditions are. For Christmas, I go over my grandma's house and my family from Ohio comes over. My aunt and uncle come over. And we just play Scrabble, bake cookies, play more Scrabble. It's really fun. We built a gingerbread man house. It's a really fun day, and I am determined this year to not center it so much around food. So yeah, I'm excited. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys!